There are baseball comebacks, and then there are human comebacks. Baseball comeback is easy to see. A team trails, runner gets on, somebody drives a ball into the gap, the crowd changes pitch, and the scoreboard changes shape. A human comeback is quieter. Sometimes it just looks like this. Eighth hitter, shortstop, one hit, one run, one RBI. That's Dickie Thon on October 12, 1986. 1 for 3, solo home run, a clean little line in a postseason box score. But that line is carrying 2 years of damage. 2 years earlier, Dickie Thon wasn't just a useful shortstop. He was one of the best young players in the National League. He could hit, run, defend, and hit for power at a position where that still felt kind of rare. Then a fastball hit him in the face. It broke the bone around his left eye, damaging his depth perception. It turned baseball, this game of reaction, trust, and sight, into a daily negotiation with fear and blur. On this night, in the NLCS against the loudest team in baseball, Thon saw one. Sid Fernandez threw it. Dickie Thon hit it. For one swing, the ball came back. Welcome back to Astro 100. I'm documenting one game per player until he reaches 100. Today, this is Astro 40, Dickie Thon, October 12, 1986, Game 4 of the NLCS, Houston Astros at New York Mets, Shea Stadium. The Astros win 3-1 and tie the series at 2 games each. Mike Scott's the dominant figure. Alan Ashby has the biggest swing by win probability, and the Mets are the national story. But Thon is the reason we're here, because this game isn't just about Houston tying the series. It's about a player whose career had been violently interrupted, still standing in the batter's box in October, and mattering. The Mets come in with the confidence of a 108-win team that knows exactly how good it is. They've got Gary Carter, Keith Hernandez, Darryl Strawberry, Lenny Dykstra, Wally Backman, Mookie Wilson, Ray Knight. They've got pitching everywhere. They got swagger everywhere. And after Game 3, they got Shea Stadium roaring behind them. Houston had been 5 outs away from taking control of the series. Then Dykstra hit a walk-off homer off Dave Smith. The Mets grabbed a 2-1 series lead, and New York had that familiar October smell, noise, belief, and impending doom for the visitor. But Houston had one great equalizer, Mike Scott. A rainout lets Hal Lanier bring Scott back on 3 days rest, and that changes everything. Scott had already shut out the Mets in Game 1, striking out 14 and beating Dwight Gooden 1-0. He didn't just beat him, though. He made him look confused. So Game 4 has a simple pressure point. If the Mets win, they're up 3-1, and they're just 1 win from the World Series. If the Astros win, it's 2-2, and the whole series resets with one terrifying thought hanging over New York. If this thing gets to Game 7, Mike Scott might be waiting. And that's the subplot. Not baseball strategy. Horror movie structure. This wasn't a quiet day anywhere. Over in the ALCS, the Angels were 1 strike away from the World Series. Then Dave Henderson hit the home run off Donnie Moore. Boston survived in 11 innings, and the Red Sox refused to die. So on the same day, both championship series are being shaped by escape acts. Boston survives in Anaheim. Houston survives in New York. October's narrowing, every out starting to feel permanent. Every swing is applying for historical status. Now, the managers are a good contrast. Davey Johnson's running the Mets. He's smart, confident, and loose enough to let a loaded roster breathe. His team plays like it knows it's the best team in baseball. Hal Lanier is in his first year with Houston. His Astros are built more on pitching, pressure, speed, and run prevention. They're not trying to out-glamour the Mets. They're trying to bother them. And the starting pitchers fit the story, too. For New York, it's Sid Fernandez on his 24th birthday. El Cid, big left-hander with a deceptive delivery. He's hard to square up, and he'd gone 16-6 in the regular season. In this game, he's not bad at all. 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. The problem is 2 of the 3 hits leave the park. For Houston, it's Scott at the absolute height of his power. Split-fingered fastball, command, late drop, Cy Young season. The Mets are so baffled by him that the conversation starts drifting from pitching into suspicion. Scuffed balls. Strange movement. What exactly is he doing? Keith Hernandez had the best description. He paints. He's a Rembrandt. And that's exactly this game. Scott doesn't strike out 14 again. He only strikes out 5, but he paints. He moves the lineup around. He gets weak contact and makes a great offense feel crowded. As far as a rivalry, there's no ancient hatred here. But for 6 games in 1986, Astros and Mets become something more concentrated. Both franchises were born in 1962, and now they're meeting for the National League pennant. The Mets are loud, loaded, and they seem inevitable. The Astros are strange, stubborn, and built to make the inevitable wait. Their shared DNA, too. Mike Scott began with the Mets. Danny Heap, who drives in New York's only run, had been an Astro. Ray Knight had been an Astro. Lee Mazzilli played for both. Nolan Ryan, who's central to Houston's rotation, although he doesn't pitch here, started his career as a Miracle Met. So this series has connections all over it. And in the middle of this particular game is Dickie Thon, carrying the memory of a career that looked very different before one pitch changed it. Thon signed with the Angels, debuted young, and came to Houston before the 1981 season. By 1982, he was Houston's shortstop. In 1983, he became something close to a complete player. He hit .286, slugged .457, hit 20 home runs, drove in 79, stole 34 bases, made the All-Star team, won a Silver Slugger, and finished 7th in the NL MVP voting at shortstop. That mattered more in 1983 than it would now. This was before power-hitting shortstops became normal. This looked like a franchise player. Then, on April 8, 1984, Mike Torres of the Mets hit him near the left eye with a fastball. The injury ended his season and damaged the way he saw the game. That's not a small thing. Baseball is depth perception, grounders, throws, breaking balls, and fastballs coming towards your face. All of it depends on sight and trust. Thon came back. Astros fans gave him a huge ovation in 1985, and he singled in his return. But a return isn't the same thing as a restoration. By 1986, he's still fighting the vision problems. He's useful. He plays 106 games. He's not the 1983 star anymore, but neither is he gone, and that's why this game matters. It catches him in the middle of the fight. The Astros go quietly in the first. Scott answers by setting the tone immediately. Lenny Dykstra, Wally Backman, Keith Hernandez, all retired. In the second, Glenn Davis singles with 1 out. Kevin Bass strikes out. Jose Cruz strikes out. Fernandez is 1 pitch from escaping. Then Alan Ashby gets a second life. He hits a foul pop that Ray Knight and Rafael Santana can't secure near the temporary postseason photographer area. The ball drops, and Ashby stays alive. A few pitches later, he hits a 2-run homer to deep left field. Astros 2, Mets 0. Against a normal pitcher, that's early. Against Mike Scott, though, feels like someone just locked the door. Scott rolls on through the Mets. Gary Carter flies out. Darryl Strawberry strikes out. Mookie Wilson grounds out. The next couple innings don't give New York much more. Houston gets a walk from Davis in the 4th, but no run. Backman reaches on Scott's error in the bottom half, but Carter strikes out to end that. And then comes the 5th. Ashby flies out. Dickie Thon steps in against Sid Fernandez. This is the whole episode. Dickie, he's batting 8th. He's not the middle of the order force anymore. He's no longer the 1983 version of himself. He's a player still trying to rebuild a career after the game took away part of how he saw the game. Fernandez throws, and Thon sees it. He hits it deep to left. Home run. Astros 3, Mets 0. The swing doesn't end the game, but it changes the feel. It gives Scott another run, it quiets Shea Stadium, and it makes New York's path narrower. It also lets Dickie Thon circle the bases in October after everything that had already happened to him. There's no need to over-sentimentalize it. The swing does that by itself. Scott keeps going. Ray Knight gets the Mets' first hit in the 5th inning. Nothing comes of it. In the 6th, Lee Mazzilli pinch hits for Fernandez and strikes out. Dykstra strikes out. Backman grounds out. Then Roger McDowell takes over and keeps Houston quiet. In the 8th, the Mets finally break through. Mookie Wilson singles, Ray Knight moves into third, and Denny Heap pinch hits for Rafael Santana. Heap lines a sacrifice fly to center base. Wilson scores. Astros 3, Mets 1. Now that's all New York gets, but it's enough to make the 9th inning breathe. Doug Sisk handles the top half despite a Denny Walling double and a Kevin Bass walk. In the bottom of the 9th, Scott faces the top of the order. Dykstra singles, and now Shea Stadium has a pulse again. Backman bunts him to second. Hernandez grounds him to third. 2 outs. Gary Carter up. Hall of Fame catcher, tying run at the plate. Strawberries on deck. That's the correct final exam. Scott gets Carter to fly to center. Game over. Astros 3, Mets 1. The series is tied 2-2. For Houston, this game keeps the season alive. Down 3-1 to the Mets would have been a cliff. Tied 2-2, it's a fight. It also confirms the central fear of the series. The Mets can't solve Mike Scott. He throws 9 innings, allows 3 hits, walks nobody, and gives up 1 run. He isn't just pitching well, he's controlling the emotional architecture of the whole series. For New York, this is irritation more than panic. The Mets are still even, and they're still great. But now Scott isn't a one-night problem. He's a series problem. And for Dickie Thon, the game is evidence. Not that everything's fixed. Not that the old future has returned. Baseball's not that generous. But it's evidence that he can still stand in there against a postseason left-hander in New York and hit 1 out. That's not nothing. That's a life raft. So this game is a great teaching tool because it isn't obvious. It's not a slugfest or a walk-off. It's not chaos. But it does teach pressure. A 2-0 lead can feel enormous with the right pitcher. A dropped foul pop can become a 2-run homer. An 8th inning solo shot can feel like a door closing. A leadoff single in the 9th inning can make 55,000 people believe again. Then Thon adds the human layer. Baseball lets one swing contain more than the swing. And that's why people fall for it. The Mets win Game 5 in 12 innings, 2-1 on a Gary Carter single. Then Game 6 becomes one of the great postseason marathons, 16 innings in Houston. Billy Hatcher's foul pole homer, the Mets' 3-run 16th, Houston's near comeback, then Jesse Orosco striking out Kevin Bass to end Houston's season. New York wins the pennant, then beats Boston in the World Series. Houston goes home with one of the great almosts in franchise history. So Scott is so dominant, he wins NLCS MVP, even though Houston loses the series. Thon's career continues, but the injury never fully leaves the story. Later he plays for San Diego, Philadelphia, Texas, and Milwaukee. He has useful years. He wins the Tony Conigliaro Award, which fits almost too cleanly. A player honored for overcoming adversity after a beating altered his career. The numbers say he had a solid major league life. The real story is the gap in what he was becoming and then what he had to become. This home run lives in that gap. Next up, we leave Houston and head back to the Warriors. Warrior 16, Randy LaRusso, February 1, 1968. LaRusso can get flattened by time because the league around him had louder names. But he was a serious NBA forward, a multiple-time All-Star, and a perfect doorway into a very different basketball world. Different pace, different spacing, same project. One game, one player, one way into history. Final score from Shea, Astros 3, Mets 1. Alan Ashby hits the 2-run homer. Dickie Thon adds the solo shot. Mike Scott throws a complete game and ties the NLCS. The Mets eventually own the famous October, but this night belongs to Houston. And the swing we're keeping belongs to Dickie Thon, a shortstop who had already seen the game taken from him once. A hitter who had to relearn trust. A player who stepped in against Sid Fernandez in October and found enough of the ball, enough of himself, and enough of the old future to send one over the wall. That's Astro 40, Dickie Thon. The ball came back. Thanks for watching.